Come to me! Oh! Okay, close enough. So, yeah. We bought a line boring machine and bore welder, servo line boring and bore welder, 110 volt XTD50, made in China. Yeah, they've just been cheap enough lately. I couldn't see not buying one. I've done stuff with mag drills before. I've made other things. It appears that they're a copy of some of the Climax stuff. I didn't realize that until I looked at the latest Climax stuff, because the Climax stuff I used to run was a lot different than what I'm seeing now in the newer stuff when I started looking at these a little more. The one drawback I see on these, they're 50 millimeter bar. I like inch bars better. I don't know if the Climax is 50 millimeter or they're still using inch sizes. I don't know. But all of these Chinese ones seem to be 50 millimeter. There's some US importers of these, and you can pay, if I paid the shipping through the US importer, and they're supposed to be the better ones, supposedly was going to be $9,000 delivered to Fairbanks. This one cost me it was under $3,000, and by the time I paid another 90 something for shipping into Fairbanks, it was still under $3,000. Which, as a matter of fact, I'll put in a plug there for My Connect with Carlisle. They're doing a forwarding service here for the interior that is actually real affordable. And they'll do ammo too. Oh, yeah, ammo stuff. Oh, yeah, really? Yeah, stuff. Because good local company, they're statewide, but they're actually started local here. I actually did some work for the guy that started the company that has now sold it to other people. So, but nonetheless, it started as a company here in Fairbanks. And yeah. So we will unwrap this. We will see what it looks like. And I need to get some shears. You want to grab a drill?
What was it?
Oh, it was some D9 Ripper pieces. He wanted the D9 Ripper parts rebored here in the shop, and then he had the other thing. He wanted the machine itself where the Ripper goes on board out in the field, and I gave him a price for that, which is pretty pricey, and it is pricey. So he decided he wasn't excited about that price, and I think he decided their other prices were probably going to be too pricey if we wanted money for that. So it is definitely packed in here. I'm just going to have to get up there. Have to do my pickup mount. That's what tires are for. Yaka! Okay. Probably need a knife for some of this, or we won't be able to see what it is. Unless we can rip open some of it. Okay, this is the welding gun. And I don't know if it's coming with 2 liners because they're giving us spares. It doesn't appear to have a liner in it already. Or I don't know if they gave us 2 because they're different sizes for different sizes. They look like they're different. So I think they gave us 2 of them so that we could use 2 different size wires depending on what we had. Because this is meant for doing bore welding too. And what we'll probably end up doing, if we get some spare time, is we'll probably go ahead and just bore something out and try the welder, because it's a little finicky from everything I've heard getting the welder and everything set up on any of these to get it tuned in. That was one of the things a lot of people were saying why they were going with the guys that were importing them and reboxing them in the nice boxes and stuff, was because they would get help from them, information. We have our traditional crescent wrench for our tools. Now this one right here, there were about 4 different companies, and they were all 3,000 or thereabouts. 3,000, a little under. This was the least expensive one, free shipping anywhere in the lower 48. And I'm hoping that it is what it said, because there's a whole lot of them. Some of them were even over 3,000 that were different machines. And this is supposed to be one with a 3.1 kilowatt servo drive, which is pretty stout. So I'm hoping that it actually is. If not, well, we'll be disappointed. I can't tell you, I could tell you the brand, but it doesn't matter because this Amazon will no longer ship these. So must have been somebody offering too good of a deal. Sometimes I see that. I think the other people will offer, and there is the little, that's something with these that someone else had mentioned, just in general on these generic ones, is they'd mentioned that they thought the actual wire feed units and cups and things were kind of Mickey Mouse, and several people had made adapters to use more common US stuff. That is, I mean, it's not necessarily, but it's little. It's little. It's not what I'm used to using. We just got another order for a couple things and some more stuff for me to bid. So while I was thinking we'd just take some time and look at this right away, and that's not the case. Now, the bearings will be just a standard 4-bolt 50 millimeter bearing. And that's the same thing you find, yeah, the 210 series. That's the same as I bought for extras, because I always like to have extras. I went ahead and ordered 3 more of these that are coming from other people. This is a 210 series. And yeah, Bert had done do people see this, read this, comments, wherever that posted, some kind of a posting that he put up, and I was, well, yeah, at some point we'll post something and ask people questions, which would be better to do. Just thinking about that further. We don't have time for lots of spare projects anyway. Would be nice to have. Look at that. That was, I remember, yes, they showed in a lot of these. This one I don't think showed it in the picture, but most of them. And that was a strange thing too. If I go to AliExpress instead of Amazon for this same Chinese unit, because I shop all over when I shop around. On AliExpress, this machine was running $4,500 to $15,000. And I'm like, why, if I buy it from the direct from China people, is it so much more than buying it from the, and at $4,500, it starts making the $9,000 from people I can talk to in English look a little bit better. And actually theirs, if it was $8,000, which is the lower 48 price, wouldn't have been too bad. It was the other $1,000 for shipping that was driving me away from trying that.
How much did Carlisle want to forward this?
Their forwarding was $60-some and another 30-something for insurance. I decided to insure it.
Wow.
I could have got it for $60-some shipping.
That's pretty good, though.
Oh yeah. That's from their Seattle dock to here,
Yeah.
and that was for 299 pounds. And I used to get that kind of. There's the battery for the little measuring tool. That is going to be for measuring your off of your bore to your. I don't know how accurate that is. There might be a set plug or something to it. That doesn't look like a really super. I've seen people talking about these, how they are. Is that still working? Yeah. Looks like it's still on.
Yep.
They talk about how these are really good, that they're able to get within 5/1000ths of an inch of the diameter they want. I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay. Someone that's new to the whole game of line boring, yeah, I guess that's okay. Not impressive to those of us that have played the game well. Let's go ahead and get me a knife. This is getting old, fighting these. Yeah. Here is their remote control. There is the traditional spare oil can. I don't need to unwrap that right now. you see that lots of times. This is one of the cones. Now, that's something I was wondering as I looked at all of these different machines. You'd see one of them that had the cones that were split in the middle and bolted together and were black like this, so they looked like they were a piece of cast iron. Well, this is plastic. I do think that it's garolite or something similar to that. I forget what the actual plastic name is for that, but that's what it seems like. And it doesn't matter. For all you know, I'm not a big fan of the cones and what you use them for. Now we got some cutting tools here. The little organizers would be nice. But I don't think it's essential, and I think that for what little bit is really here, I think we can figure out our own organizers. Now, I was guessing when I looked at this that we probably had a right holder and a left holder, because that would make sense to have one right and one left. And it's screw style, which, nope, we got two of them the same with different shank sizes. Okay. So they did have some kits of these that had two different size boring bars with them. This one didn't claim to have the smaller optional bar with it. It only claimed to have the big one. And I picked this one as opposed to some of the kits that said they only had the small bar. Maybe they all have both bars. I don't know. This is for the welding. That is one of the welding bars, and I don't really need to walk on it. Here, you can have it, Bert. That is for the, that goes in there, and a wire feed wire goes through it to feed at an angle for welding. And yeah, I should have looked to see if the other people that were selling these for about this same price, if they all canceled selling these ones that are less than what AliExpress is getting too. A lot of times there'll be 7 or 8 different sellers that are actually just different names, so that when somebody gets upset at one of them, they'll cancel that one out, and they're really all the same company. It has a little bit of a manual. Looks like it has words that are not pictures. This would be our, usually you have a bearing that is a mount for the machine too. Well, that's a different one. No, I think this one just has some different mounting fingers for it. Because I see this one, which has an actual face and the same type of little fingers. Yeah, I knew Austin would just love the little boxes already organized and everything, but we can do it another way. You know, for $1,000 we can let Austin buy boxes and organize them himself, and he can geek over that even more, because it would be right by the rules of Austin. I have bolts. Uh-oh. I have loose bolts and nuts. Okay. Huh? No, I'm not gonna. Set it aside. Yeah, we need to set something up to be boring. I have a stop collar. That's nice to have. Another collar there, and we have a adapter fits the smaller bar to let you step out to a larger diameter from what's, rather than just the inside the bar for making cuts. So they also have, and I didn't show it anywhere with this, but as an option, they have little facing heads that they sell for these. But I wanted to get the machine first before I went and bought their little facing head, which again, depending on which one of the many Chinese sellers you buy it from, it ranges between $360 and $1,000 for it. And pretty much all looks the same. Nope. This is the feed arm. Yeah, I'd really be curious if the new Climaxes are 50 millimeter or if they're 2-inch or what they are. The ones I used to run, I think, were 2 1/4. I think that was the bar size I used to run. I know they were not metric. And it seemed like they were over 2-inch. That's, huh. Quite a little drive motor, kind of heavy too. Oh, yeah, and that's one thing I can see as a problem here. Is you got an awfully heavy drive, and you get that a lot of times on these. That's part of why years ago, before you had higher torque motors, they'd use hydraulics, because you could put a relatively light hydraulic motor on, and a lot of times they'd have it where it's in pieces. So like this one here, we got the feed motor, we got the main motor. It's all on one unit. If we were to unbolt it, it would be lighter to put it into place. A lot of times you don't have crane access to everything you're working on. It's nice to be able to go there and put it otherwise. I grab a small strap and a crane, and we'll pick this up. It's just a little more than I want to pick up, that one piece. I saw this unit by itself on AliExpress for $1,800 for just the drive unit if you bought it separate. That was one thing that somebody had mentioned also from the place here in the US that buys these and repackages them, cleans them up, sells them, is they were talking about how wonderful they were for replacement parts and things, and one guy had gotten a replacement drive motor assembly under warranty from them. But again, honestly, for $1,800, you just buy a spare one and have it on hand before you start the job. It's, yeah. Fairly stout. Might as well take it away.
Where do you want to set her?
Actually, we've got some nice space that Austin cleared off that we can mess up on his table right there.
It's got one.
On the far end, he's just using a little bit. Oh, I got to call those drillers and see when they're going to bring the rest of the pieces in to us too. They should have been here. That is our feed thread. Supposed to be able to set a stop on this where you want to electronically too. So, okay, that is a hollow piece to put in for. That also goes for our welder. And here's a short bar. So, no. Short bar will go over there with the machine. We'll put it in. We'll hook her up and put power to it before we figure out what the instructions say. case we need the instructions while we're figuring out the basics. Guessing this part's not too heavy. Yep, this is the electronics. So you're gonna grab this. We are using a key drive. Whoa, that is some big husky squares in there for the cutters. Let me grab calipers so we can measure this. Yeah, regular calipers. So, we need a telescoping gauge. I thought maybe they'd made this an inch size and that. Sometimes you want a little looseness in it. It's not terrible for the drive to be loose, but I thought it might be closer to an inch size. It's 1.991. And 50 times recall. 50 is 1 and 9/68, so that's a lot loose. I don't know that that's a problem, but it is a lot loose. Yeah, 50 millimeter bar is pretty good. It's coming in right at 967. So that's 1.5 under, which is good size. You don't want the bar to be tight. You want a little loose. That's fine. But yeah, the drive is like just plain. But you know, I can see that. You know, it's not going to bind. There's advantage in it being loose. I was a little disappointed to find out it wasn't a 2-inch to where I could just use a regular 2-inch bar with it if I wanted. Although the bars are the part that's actually the hard thing to come up with a lot of times. Nobody gives away cheap bars. And I tried to, even from these people, I tried to see if I can buy a replacement bar, which wasn't absolutely sure what size it was going to be. They had different listings. I really wanted an 8-footer, and that's, yeah, roughly 60.5 inches.
So about 5 foot.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's common with the U.S. Outfits, Climax and that in the past anyway. They would sell you 6- and 8-foot bars were the two real common ones you'd buy. They had short ones too, and what most places I was at, we'd just buy the 8-footers, and then if we wanted smaller bars, we'd just feed them to the saw and piss off the guys in the purchasing department because they'd have to buy us another 8-foot bar. That's just part of their job, is to buy us what we need. Okay. Probably a clamp for it. That's got to go there. It goes in the keyway. Yeah, it's a little hokey. I could even say a lot hokey. But all of this won't really mean much. What'll mean something is when we actually put it on a piece of steel and go to take a cut. I didn't see what the numbers on the motor. I was going to look at that and see what the motor said.
I think it's on the bottom.
I think so too. We can fix that.
No.
Important notice. Blah, blah. think it went where the tag somebody pulled off because they didn't want us to know what the motor actually said it was. I don't know. They have ones that look like this. Most of them were either 2.5 kilowatt or 3.1 kilowatt. And most of them that came straight down the center where they were using a bevel gear here and a planetary for the power for the reduction in speed. Most of these were the 3.1. So now this one actually advertised as being a 3.0. So that was, and that will mess up our, I don't think I'm going to put it too tight today. The thrust is going to be taken up by the motor itself. It's not a real good design. Oh well, can't have everything. Always like everything. It's just like I was having candy earlier today.
Oh, you were having it again.
Yeah, I was eating candy again. Yes, I was. But I was eating Kit Kats. And Kit Kats are okay, but they have this aftertaste. So it's like, I don't know what they put in them that leaves the aftertaste. So it's, you know, wanting everything would be wanting Kit Kats, where they taste like a Kit Kat, but don't have the aftertaste, you know?
Can't eat the Halloween ones then. The Halloween ones all have a taste. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is.
And that was something that I was curious about on this too. It's supposed to be 110 volt, 30 amp, which would be close in there with the 3 kilowatt. But they also had a lot of companies selling pretty much the same one. The Rock don't really do anything, so I thought about it. So yeah, okay. This one there. This goes a little bit snug. Probably take some surface grinder work to make it nicer. Is it a metric holder or is it inch? Close to 16 millimeter. It's a 5/8 holder. So, which, yeah, 16 millimeter. Kind of rough holes. We'll make it fit. That may be some of the stuff too, you know, guys, getting these and reselling them for people that don't do a lot of machine work to help them out. Would probably go through and clean stuff up a little bit. There's an L. And I don't think the L is any specific to go to anything other than the other half of this. They probably drilled and tapped this as one piece. So that should go on here, I believe. But yeah, I was curious if the servo main unit would take different voltages besides 30 amp 110, because while we have 30 amp 110 here, a lot of people don't. A lot of places don't. And I had just heard someone talking about that on a Climax unit that was being used in a shop, that they had to fire up a generator. And I'm like, it doesn't take that much power. It had to be a matter of whatever their shop had was not the correct power for the machine. A friend of mine many years ago was saying about a Chinese lathe that it was fine if you take it all apart, remachine all the castings and make everything new, which that was many years ago. Hook up cords. We have an E-stop, a PW. We have a power supply, very clean looking. A breaker set in here. Check Can't read the amperage on it right off. But it's going to a very wimpy cord that will not take 30 amps. Wires coming from it look a little better. Okay. So far, I'm glad I didn't spend $8,000 on one. But like I say, the other one may, it may look better. And the components inside the pictures, on the boxes on that one look pretty much the same. But my fantasy was always to build my own that was better than everybody else's. And I've seen some guys build some pretty nice ones. I've built some stuff that worked okay, but it's more the special use where you have advantages over the generic. Okay, that's stop. If the stop is on, it's stopped.
Yeah.
So we need to stop off.
So to turn the stop off, you have
You
to
have
turn it on.
Have to turn it forward.
And
I
forward.
can't turn it reverse. Okay.
So now hit
So
position.
now I can hit reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it'll do. And I can stop. And it will go reverse when I hit that one now because the reverse is on. So this is basically on and off.
Yeah.
This is reverse.
Yeah.
This is toggling reverse or forward.
Yeah. And position 4 is a
Yeah.
mystery.
Okay, I think what position 4 is so that when we click, okay, it's going forward. I still have to go to stop it. Now, if I go with this one and this, it should feed when I do that. I'm thinking,
Because it shuts position 4 off when you press position 1. And if you press it
Okay.
again, it brings position 2 back on.
okay,
Well, actually, that's a good point. So that turns that on. That still is on. Okay, so that's not controlling our feed.
yeah, well, feed's got two controls. So we're going to have feed, and then we're going to have some kind of a way that it feeds with this, probably.
Oh.
So,
So that's off.
let's see.
So that's going to
If
be the same
it's-
thing, I think.
we're
If we do
thinking.
that, and that will rotate.
This will rotate it backwards. Okay, that's the same.
So now, yeah, I have no idea. Position 4 is a mystery for both of these.
Might be for remote control that we don't have.
Oh,
That we
hell,
should have
slaving
had.
it to the remote, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe. We didn't get that. Supposed to. Showed it in the pictures. I think it had it in the description. I'm going to go back and look.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, this one did only show one remote with it, where the others showed two remotes. I don't know why you need two remotes, because there should only be one operator. But
That's the
Back up.
supervisor's remote.
yeah, from in his office. Oh no! I can see it's 3,000s too big from here. I know it is.